The Essential Knowledge Company has grown out of 15 years, the past 15 years, of life experience. Its purpose is to interest you in your brain and to make you aware that all change in your life, in society, starts by training the one organ that you probably never think about, your brain. I came to this conclusion through years of travel, through breaking through comfort zones, mental comfort zones, that I didn't even know existed. The process started back in 2006 when I decided that I was going to drive to China. This ended up being a drive once around the planet and resulted in a book, My Year of Beds. At the time, I wasn't aware of what was happening to my brain. We very seldom are. This awareness usually only arises if one has a means of comparison and the ability to observe oneself objectively. So in my year of beds, I discovered several things. First of all, the reality that I assume to be the reality is merely my own very, very personal, private point of view, which is shared by just about nobody else. Sections are, some sections aren't, but on the whole, we each walk around completely convinced that the illusion that our brain creates inside our heads is the reality. The whole reality and nothing but reality. Nothing could be further from the truth. We, each one of us, create an illusion of reality based on our personal life experience, our personal DNA makeup, our environment, which creates a completely unique neural network. And that really is the thing that makes each one of us absolutely unique. The neural network that sits inside our skull, that creates a reality based on information that it receives from our sensory body. And it is this belief that our personal illusion is the one and only true reality that trips us up in just about everything we do. In our relationships, in our expectations, in our goal setting. So with brain training, I've discovered you can become more objective in your view of the world. And in my journey around the planet, in my year of beds, I coined a phrase, well at least I thought I did, of mindfulness. I was completely unaware that there was already, mainly in America, a huge mindfulness movement. But I've discovered subsequently, in the decades subsequent to that the mindfulness movement in America is not quite the same as the mindfulness that I discovered firsthand in breaking down these multiple comfort zones in my head, in really shattering this illusion of what I thought was reality. In trying to investigate, in trying to discover what exactly had happened to me, to my brain in particular, which is in fact me. No brain, no person. Your brain is what makes you you. And your neural network, as I just said, is what makes you unique. And in trying to discover how that actually works and comes about, I set off on another road trip back in 2014, in which I went once around America, and I interviewed various cognitive neuroscientists, biological neuroscientists, contemplative neuroscientists. And the question that I wanted to answer was how we think biologically, what we think philosophically, and in writing the book, Searching for Galileo, the most important question of all was, why do we think what we think? Which of course leads us on to saying, why do we value what we value? And therefore, why do we behave as we do? And all of that boils back down to education. So in the 5 years subsequent to doing the road trip and then finally publishing the book 3 years ago, I have whittled everything I've learned down to the one fundamental point. So we cannot change anything until we become aware of the place in which all change starts, and that is our brain. Not the intellectual cloud that one might call the mind, which we seem to sort of wander around in as in a daze, but the actual physiological part of our thought process, the actual brain, the neural network, the connections that we have made unconsciously and use habitually. These are the things that drive our actions, sometimes against our better judgment. And so this is what caused me to start the Essential Knowledge Company. It is a driver, a frame, a vehicle for a book that I'm currently working on that presumes to set out the steps that we need to take in order to achieve the sustainable future that we all want, that everybody's clamoring for, that fortunately an increasing number of people realize is dramatically overdue, that our path is wrong. We need to stop walking this path, stop speeding along this path, and go somewhere else. And this starts by starting a different journey. Professor James Zull, one of the professors that I met in America while I was researching my book, Searching for Galileo, he wrote a very interesting book called From Brain to Mind. This is possibly the most important journey that each one of us will ever take in our lives, this journey from brain to mind. And the starting point is becoming aware that you have a brain, and becoming aware of what the brain is doing when it is doing it, and what the emotions that you are getting from whatever your brain is doing, which are driving your actions. And that brings me back to my sense of what mindfulness is. It is being aware. It is a meta-awareness. So your brain is aware of itself while it is thinking, while it is secreting hormones, and your body is aware via your brain of the emotions, the feelings that are driving your actions. And because of how society has panned out and the things we pay attention to, we have a disconnect between brain and body. Our brain and our sensory body are no longer as finely tuned as they once used to be, I believe. And so that is the first step, the first goal of brain training, is reconnecting the brain to the sensory body that sends the information to the brain, and where the brain uses this information to create this illusion of reality. So the premise is, the more in touch you are with your sensory body, the more information your brain receives, the clearer and the more objective an illusion of reality you are able to create, which will enable you to create or to drive more beneficial and more appropriate emotions and actions. So, as an introduction in a nutshell, that is what the Essential Knowledge Company is. And in the ongoing little clips, I'll be filling you in on the various things that I've learned, that is current research on neuroscience, contemplative and cognitive neuroscience, and the various exercises that you can do at home quite easily in the car to enhance, in the first instance, your body-brain connection, to free up the data flow from your sensory body to your neural headquarters, your brain, to enable you to create a fuller, rounder, more nuanced image of reality in your head. Because because I believe that we will not change anything until we are able to expand our thinking, to expand our minds, to encompass an ever-increasing spectrum of reality that we are able and willing to deal with on as an objective a manner as possible. So I hope you'll join me next time and start on your journey from brain to mind.